Hi everyone, Jason here from Robot Lawn Mowers Australia. Today we're going to have our first look at installing the test Worx Landroid model that we have. I'm going to install that on an existing installation I have here that's currently installed with a X-Gain E1800. Basically this installation has two areas set up on it. One is just this initial area here, which has one little tree around it, and then the second area where the mower actually travels out onto the footpath here, out into the driveway, and then into the front area. So I'll get this set up and we'll have a bit of a quick look, see how it compares and how the setup process is done. So let's get started, and first thing is I'll disconnect the existing X-Gain and install the Worx Landroid base station. Okay, so we've chosen to install the base station in this run just here. It is a little bit against the guidelines, as the run up to the base station from the right hand side there is actually quite a bit shorter than what's recommended. Where we've found ourselves at the moment is that, just to give you a bit of an understanding of installation work, is that the wire that we had going into the base station previously has fallen quite a bit short. It's sitting in just there at the moment is the end of the wire. What I'm going to do now is just use one of our heat shrink solder joints. Okay, so this is actually one of the joints I'm talking about. There's a little heat shrink solder joint, so there's some cold solder in there that shrinks, that melts at about 120 degrees. And we simply just strip back the ends of the cable. So we've got this end and this end stripped back. We slide that all the way through. Basically just need the two wire ends to join to slide under the solder ferrule in the middle, like such. So I'm not quite sure whether you can see properly there, but basically the insulation on both sides comes right up to the solder joint in the middle there, and then we simply hold that in place. Use a little gas torch, something like this, and we shrink it down. Shrink the heat shrink first, because that then holds the cable in place. And then at some point you'll actually see the solder actually melt and run into the copper. And that is it. So now that we've joined the wire on, we can run that wire now, and we'll run that through the side here. The wire then runs up through this little track through here and up into the stand. It actually just pops in there very easy. You really can't make any mistakes whatsoever, which is really great for the base station, because getting that wire alignment is one of the most important things. Now we have our base station installed. You can see I haven't taken a whole lot of care in how I've really done it at this point in time. I haven't followed every single rule in the instructions, but I think we should be fairly good, and it sort of allows me to see the tolerance of how accurate you really need to be to install these base stations. As you can see, the perimeter wire here comes in, goes through the tracks inside the base station, up inside the terminal cover, and there's two very simple, quick, easy connects inside that terminal cover, so it's all very simple to install. And then the other side going out, comes out along the side there and continues on its merry way. The screws that hold down a base station, which is these nylon screws, I've only put 4 in here. There's actually 8 that can be installed to hold the charging section there nice and solid. They're very easy to install. There's an Allen key that actually comes with the unit, which actually makes them quite easy just to screw down to the ground, and they actually do hold down really quite firm, so they do hold down well. But like I say, I haven't taken a lot of care in how I've installed this at this point in time. The ground's not very level. I haven't really spent too much effort at all in getting it exactly right, so we'll see how it goes. Okay, so we're ready to turn everything on. I have turned on the power to the base station. And I'll show you that once you ensure that everything's correct and the perimeter wire actually connects correctly, when you turn the power on, you'll end up with a solid green light there between the two charging pins. If there's anything else but that green light, then consult the manual to find out what the story is, but most likely it'll be to do with your perimeter wire installation. And the mower itself, so I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this or not, but we'll turn this on. So the welcome screen comes up, asks you for the default password, which is just the up arrow 4 times. 1, 2, and then OK. And you can see the mower just says that it's stopped. So if we press the home key and OK, the mower should continue on its way and find that perimeter wire and then travel home. There we go, docked and home. Okay, so we're just going to try and get the Wi-Fi connection up and running on these units. Now, because this particular unit's already been connected at our shop to the Wi-Fi there, we need to reconfigure the Wi-Fi connection. So once you download the app, and it is simple to find, just type in Worx and you'll find the app very quickly, Worx Landroid app on Google or on iOS. Download the app. It'll ask you to create an account or to log in if you've already got login details. For us, we've already got login details because we've already had it set up. And this mower was already set up in our shop onto the Wi-Fi. So once we open the app, the first thing it tells you is that it's lost connection or it's offline. So typically when you open a new one up, it'll take you straight into a wizard where you can just go through and just follow the prompts. In the back of the unit there's a QR code, and you just simply scan that QR code with the app, and it takes you right through to log the unit onto your app and to make connection. So for us though, we need to go into My Landroids, because you can have more than one mower on the app obviously. We go into the Landroid we want, and down the bottom I think it is, we've got, no we don't, sorry, we go into settings, and there we've got reconfigure Wi-Fi connection. So I'll hit that. It's asking us for our Wi-Fi connection here and the password. Okay, and that basically tells me now that I need to go into the mower. I need to go to settings, which is to the right. Settings, okay. Down to Wi-Fi setup, okay. And it's got Smart Link, okay. So we'll go here, we'll go next on the app. So let's go, okay, press Smart Link. So that's now connecting the tablet to the mower, and then the mower to the Wi-Fi signal. Okay, so we now have it connected to the Wi-Fi. Okay, so next I'm going to set up the two setting areas. I'll just show you this tablet. Hopefully we can get some sort of view on here. So that's a picture of the home screen there. So on that home screen there, we can just simply press start, and the mower will go off and start to its factory default. But we want to set two area zones on here at the moment. So what I want to do is go up here to the menu. That menu comes in, we've got multi-zone, hit multi-zone, and then we simply just have to hit the start button. You want to enable the zones. We want to enable 2 zones, turn the other 3 and 4 off, and press start. Connecting to Landroid. Let's see. Leaving the charger. You should head out across the driveway onto the front nature strip where we can set zone 1. So best to allow the mowers to get right into the zone before hitting the locate button on your app. And then you simply just hit mark for zone 1. It's sending the signal to the mower, and it's telling me on the app now that zone 1 has been set to that location. Okay, now that that's well into zone 2, I hit the zone 2 mark. It's sending the signal. That signal's now been sent. Now the next thing that it asks for in the app when you're setting these zones is the percentage of area. So basically you just need to look at the 2 areas. In this particular case, it's about twice the size in this lawn we're on currently compared to the front lawn. So we literally set the zones at zone 1 30% and zone 2 will be at 60%. Or 70% we'll make it. Has to add up to 100% obviously. And then we hit the save button. Okay, that's completely saved. The mower will make its way back to the charge station, dock itself for home, and that is the 2 zones set in the mower, ready to schedule its mowing times. Another fairly good unique feature on the Worx I've noted is that the display constantly tells you when the program's set. It constantly tells you when the next time it's going to start. So currently I've got this set to start in 3 minutes and 16 seconds, and it's counting down as we speak. In 3 minutes time it'll start off. I've got it programmed for 15 minutes on the zones as I set up earlier. So 30% on the front lawn on the nature strip and 70% on the main lawn here. So it should go out to the front, mow for about 4 or 5 minutes, and then travel to the back and mow for the remainder of the 15 minutes. A few seconds to go before it starts. Seems it takes about another 10 seconds after the timer goes off before it actually leaves. It's giving us a bit of a warning to say that it's about to start the cutting blades. Now I have got this set to do 1 perimeter lap to do the edge cutting, even though I actually don't have this perimeter wire set up for this mower to cut as close to the edge as it can. It will do 1 full lap prior to starting its mow. Worth noting that the noise of these ones is particularly low. You don't hear the gear motors very much, and all you can really hear is just the spinning blades. You'll also note that it's not actually cutting very much grass, as the lawnmower that I have on here all the time has already done the grass in the last day or so, so there's not much grass to be cut. We'll do another test another time to show the performance of the cutting of these mowers. I've been sort of investigating how the manual start features operate on the mower when it's not on the charge station. Essentially, if you want to force the mower into an edge cut mode, you can take it off the charge station, just beside the charge station essentially, and then send it home. It'll force that into a full lap of your edge, and cut to the edge, which is just simply hitting the home key and OK, and it'll run around the outside. You can carry the mower to any area that you wish in your yard, and just start the mower manually, and it will start cutting directly from where you leave it, which is by hitting the start key and OK. It doesn't seem to matter whether the mower's near the wire or away from the wire. It just automatically goes into start mode and will mow for a scheduled time duration. I'm not quite sure exactly what that time is, whether it's just the time that's set on the schedule for that day, or whether it's a manual function. I'll have to look a bit deeper into that. When the mower is actually on the charge station, it's a similar story. You just can't hit the home key and start when it's on the charge station. You have to take it off to force it into an edge cut mow. But starting, it's not a problem. You can just simply hit the start key, and then the mower will actually head out to the zone 1 scheduled area. If you've got multi-zones programmed, it will head out to that first area, start mowing, and then move to the second area, start mowing, and the third area. So it basically forces the mower into a scheduled mow. Okay, now that we've tested the schedule out and it seems to schedule itself quite correctly, I just want to try and test out the edge mowing function and just see how close this cut to the edge system can actually get. I'm going to pick on this little stretch here of lawn. You can see that there's approximately 14 to 15 centimeters at the moment that's uncut by the conventional mower conventional robot mower that I've had here with the centralized cutting blade. I'm going to run a new wire across here as close as we can possibly get it, and see how close we can get this edge mow to actually cut right to the edge. Okay, first test with the new wire. I've installed this exactly as per the instructions, which is about 26 centimeters from the edge. So we'll see how this actually goes, but I think we'll probably get it quite a bit closer, I'd say, although the corner's very close. That's not too bad, is it? Just touched in the corner there. Need a little bit of touching up. But other than that, it's actually pretty good. Okay, so on that edge there, you can actually quite clearly see, and just here is the cut line from the standard robotic lawnmower with the centralised cutting blades, and the edge cut mow actually got right through to about here, so it actually cut them off at this height through here. So that really is quite good. We've probably gained a good 6, 7, maybe 8 centimetres compared to the centralised cutting blades. So the cut to the edge feature really does cut as close to the edge as it possibly can. Okay, time to do something a little bit more exciting. We're going to fit the ultrasonic sensor, which is the ACS anti-collision system, to the mower, which is very simple. The optional extra comes with the Allen key and 2 screws to actually fit it. There, so it's just 2 screws and an Allen key to actually to fit the system. So all we have to do is turn the mower upside down. Make sure you've actually turned it off, is always a good thing. Just to make sure those blades can't start on you. Now just underneath the mower here, there's a little hatch just here that we just pry open. Do that with your fingers or with a screwdriver. Just got that, so that just opens up like such. The connectors there. And inside there, you sort of got to feel with your fingers a little bit, but inside there, there's actually a little hatch, which is this little cover just here, which will just pop off when you give it a click and push, and that cover comes off, and you can see the wires, connectors there to connect onto it. So we can close this inspection hatch at the bottom here. And all we have to do is just unplug these little plugs that are just in the end here. And only one plug fits in each one, so you can't get the plugs wrong. Unplug this one. Just a little plug. Plug that into there. Okay, make sure they're all nice and tight. Put those plugs back down a little bit. Sits up top like such. Place the screws in the holes and do them up with the Allen key. And that's it for actually fitting it on. Then it's just a matter of going into the settings on the control panel or into the app and actually enabling the anti-collision system. Okay, so we've installed the anti-collision. Placed a few things on the lawn here for to see how it operates, and we'll see how it goes. I was incorrect earlier about the settings in the app. You do not need to set the anti-collision system operational in the app. It actually automatically senses the connections of the sensor, and there's nothing to be done except for plug it in and away you go. It sensed that one quite well. So it did sense at that time. It certainly doesn't hit the buckets or anything like that. So yeah, the item needs to be sort of the size of basically a small football or just a fairly small ball basically. Anything smaller than that or lower than that, and it doesn't seem to sense it very well, but other than that it seems to work quite well. So that's just about it for this video, guys. So that's our first look at the Worx Landroid. Installation was very simple. We didn't seem to have any hiccups at all. You don't need to be absolutely exact in your measurements on things, so it's really is quite tolerant to the installation. Makes it very good for a DIY installation. The mower itself seems to direct itself very well. It's quite cautious about how it gets around, so there's no mistakes made by the mower. The edge to cut to edge feature was obviously quite the success. It's really good. Programming is simple, setup of the mower is simple, connecting to the Wi-Fi is simple. Notable things to mention is that the Wi-Fi connection itself, obviously you need to be able to get that connection out to your mower. I did note on a couple of occasions there when the mower was out on my nature strip, the furthest point away from the house, that connectivity between the app and the mower was dropping out. So strong Wi-Fi signals on the mower is required to communicate to it. It's not required for it to operate. Just when you actually need to communicate to the mower, it needs to be within that Wi-Fi signal. I did note that when I cut the perimeter wire, there was no alarm or anything on the actual base station. The little green light that shows when it's all up and running correctly went red. So it did indicate that there was a problem, and the mower's screen itself indicated there was a problem, but there was no alarm or anything to indicate that the wire had been cut, which is not really a problem, but other mowers generally do have some kind of alarm to tell you that there's an issue, an audible alarm. When the mower was tracking the wire all the way around, it obviously done a very, very good job, probably much better than any mower I've actually seen. Very stable how it tracks the wire, to the point that where it was actually going out onto on the concrete driveway and across, it was very stable. Another thing worth noting is that at one point the mower actually made it inside this track while it was actually mowing. It didn't go outside of it, so literally having the wires only 250 millimeters apart, the mower was able to track through that without any problems, without breaking the perimeter, which is fantastic. It just goes to show that this mower really has almost no ability to get outside of its perimetered area. So guys, I'll leave it at that. As always, if you need to get in touch with us, just check us out on our website, www.robotlawnmowers.com.au, email at sales@robotlawnmowers.com.au, or check us out on Facebook. Just search for Robot Lawn Mowers Australia on Facebook. Thanks for watching.